32 teams in 32 days-ish. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Backupz podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Seb Burnett, and I'm here with my brother, friend, and exercise guru as of recently, Tex Glisten. Say hey to everybody, Tex.
I am here. I don't know if I'm your brother, but you could have said brother from another mother, and that would have been acceptable. But to just go ahead and throw me in your family or to put yourself in mine is completely unacceptable.
I would apologize, but I just don't give a shit. We got a great show for you today. We're bringing you another segment episode, just a small brief breakdown of the Carolina Panthers today, who have the 24th pick in the NFL draft. This is our What the Fuck series, and here we go. Let's dive right on into this. Tex, Glisten, how do you feel that the Carolina Panthers 2017 season went?
It was kind of a conundrum. I think they were kind of searching for an identity almost the entire season. And, they had one of their top picks was Christian McCaffrey, who came in with a ton of hype last year and really just, I think he was good. I don't think he lived up to expectations, but he definitely has an opportunity to do a lot better going into 2018 because they just cut who was it? Jonathan?
Jonathan Stewart. Yeah, he's gone, man. Talk about a long, illustrious career. Do you remember, God, it was probably, I guess, 7-8 years ago, the duo of him and D'Angelo Williams?
Yeah, such a great duo. Very.
Yeah, probably tops in the league, I would think, during their time period.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely give you that. So, yeah. But yeah, for me, I think one of the confusing parts was they ended up trading Kelvin Benjamin, which I do not blame them for doing so. It looks like they're going to be making out like a champ in terms of that trade. They got a 3rd round pick for Kelvin Benjamin. And then they also had Greg Olsen, their all-star tight end, end up going down with an injury. And so they really didn't have the full set of offensive weapons. And, it really did look like a sloppy 2017 season. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, and that was my thing. I don't know if I would say sloppy. I would probably more say just kind of bad luck in general. Just one of those teams that gets kind of unlucky, especially with Greg Olsen going down was pretty unfortunate. And I feel like Christian McCaffrey did what he could do. I don't feel like they had a true blue number 1 wide receiver on the team. They had some injuries there. Devin Funchess, once he started to kind of show out a little bit, he got hurt. Or was it him? Yeah, he got hurt. And then, that pick, the Carolina pick from last season, he was a rookie.
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah. He started, really playing well. He had that great end zone catch for the touchdown. I thought they could have done some things, but I've never been a huge Cam Newton fan. I just don't like. I don't know. It's too risky, and I just don't like it. But I feel like they have some issues that they can work on. And it kind of leads us into what we're going to talk about now is talk about their upcoming 2018 season and what they're thinking or what we're thinking that they're going to do in the 2018 NFL draft. What do you think?
Well, I think if you were to look at it face value, and I like to use the word cliche a lot, I think the cliche.
Is it cliche that you say cliche a lot?
No, it's not. It's just it's a cool word that I don't know how to spell. So.
Nice.
So I think the cliche first initial gut reaction would be to say they need a wide receiver. Are they going to do that? No, I do not see them going wide receiver in the first round. I think where they're going to be drafting the wide receivers, could be gone. If one, ends up falling to them, that'd be great. I just don't see that being the biggest need for them. They were up and down last season on the offensive line, which they have Cam Newton, right? So, he can take a lot of hits, but they really do coming into I wouldn't say twilight, but the back half of his NFL career, you got to, kind of surround him around some, good offensive line for once.
Yeah.
And definitely they need to address the defense, defensive end, cornerback as well. So all in all, 2 offensive pieces that they need to address: wide receiver and offensive line or guard, and then 2 on the defense, which would be the defensive end and quarterback. But I think, again, we've said this plenty of times. Don't put it past them to take the best player available, but also make a splash pick as well. They're not opposed to doing that as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I really do think that offensive line at the back part of that draft at 24 is going to be kind of their main focus, because they are losing Andrew Norwell. And if you watch the film from last year, that offensive line did get pushed around a decent amount. Just certain games, some games they played really well, some games they didn't. I think it's more of a consistency issue. But with Andrew Norwell hitting free agency, unless you want to pay him an ass ton of money, I feel like they're probably going to go offensive linemen. At that point, the biggest name that stands out to me as a possibility for them at that point is probably Will Hernandez, the guard out of UTEP. Dude he's just a mauler. If you watch his game film, if you watch his combine workout, he's big. He did 37 reps. Yeah, that's right. 37 reps at 225. That's some true blue endurance right there, and he ran well. He did well with the cones, and I feel like that's someone they're going to look at just to kind of shore up that offensive line, and, let Cam keep doing kind of his RPO, his option play, give McCaffrey room to run, and whoever, because they can pick up a running back or some bullshit to pair with McCaffrey in the 3rd round or something. You know what I mean? And they'll probably still get pretty decent value there. With wide receiver, I think they need a speedster. I think they need somebody that's going to be able to take the top off of the defense. I'm not necessarily saying that's going to be in the 1st round, but I definitely feel like that's something that they will address somewhere if they feel like they can get the value, like a DJ Moore sort of deal. Someone that's really fast and to play that role opposite of Curtis Samuel and Devin Funchess.
Yeah, I could definitely see. And just because I say it's cliche doesn't mean that it's not possible and probable to happen. I just, I really caution going down these routes, because typically once you're done with the 1st round of the NFL draft, day 1, you look back at the top 32 picks and you kind of scratch your head and go, I didn't see that coming. And I think if you were to, pigeonhole yourself into saying that the Panthers need a number 1 wide receiver and they're going to go get a number 1 wide receiver just because they traded, Kelvin Benjamin, I just don't see it being that cut and dry. Although, again, like I said, it is, it could definitely happen. And then, in terms of McCaffrey, he's definitely not a bruiser. He's not somebody that will open holes himself in terms of, running through the offensive line. So investing in your line is not only going to help the running game, right, with McCaffrey, who needs open space, but it'll definitely help, Cam Newton have more time in the pocket, which again will help those route trees. Wide receivers get deeper in those route trees, and if you give Cam Newton time, he's going to find an open wide receiver, or he's going to run for a 1st down. So that would be my assessment.
I'm definitely right there with you. How do you feel about them in 2018 or in the next season? Where do you see them ending up?
Well, so we've talked about this plenty of times on our podcast and how we felt about divisions around the NFL. The NFC South is one of those divisions that, is a perennial just powerhouse, especially with Drew Brees coming back for another year. We talked about the 2017 season, but you also forget they were basically in a battle with the Saints to even get to the playoffs. If they would have beat the Saints in the final game of the season, the Panthers would have made the playoffs. So they're a good team. They are definitely a good team. They're loaded with talent. In terms of how they fit into, the NFC South this year, it's a crapshoot in my opinion, because, I would have told you the Saints would have, had a horrible season last year, and they had both offense and defensive rookie of the year, made the playoffs.
Yep.
He's ended up having a great season, not because of his arm, and throwing for 5,000 yards. He just was had a really good season just in general. And so, I'd probably put them, in second place behind the Falcons. But the Bucs are loaded with talent. They've got, I think they have a new head coach down in Tampa. So, I'd look for Winston to have a bounce back season, and then, Breeze and that whole team. So I don't know. I'd probably put them at, possibly 9-7, 10-6. So.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just a whole nother, 2 to 3 NFC South teams in the playoffs again when we had 3 of them this year, which is just absolutely bananas.
Yeah, for sure. So.
Yep, but that's what we think, ladies and gentlemen. We want to hear from you guys. We have our upcoming Blues and Bullshit segment they're going to be working on, in which we answer our fan questions and just drink, and it'll be towards the end of our longer podcast, so we'll be a little drunk so we can really have a good time. Tex, why don't you tell everybody where they can find us on social media?
Well, everybody, as you know, Seb has been a huge supporter of Grindr for a number of years, and we love all people from all walks of life. So if you want to find Seb, he's at the Bearded Grinder on Grindr.com. You can also find our podcast on iTunes and Podbean. You can also go online, www.thebackupswithaz.com, or Instagram and Twitter at thebackupswithaz. So go ahead, get social with us, get freaky with Seb if you want to, and let's go have a good time.
Good Lord. Yeah, that's definitely what we're all about. I appreciate it, guys. So keep updated in the next couple days too for our next segment in the What the Fuck Backupz podcast. We're going to be talking about the Rams, and then after that, we're gonna squish the Buffalo Bills and their 2 picks, the 21st and the 22nd into one. Let's go ahead and do this, and let's do this shit.
Woo! I owned you for the last one.
You're a dick.
You've been listening to the Backupz podcast. Follow us on Instagram, find us on iTunes, and visit the website at www.thebackups.com with a Z for more.